Before we begin, feel where your body is touching something. The chair, the floor, the ground beneath your life. You don't have to agree with me. You don't need to improve anything. Just let your body listen. This is not advice. This is a transmission. Take what lands and leave the rest. I want to tell you about the collapse nobody saw coming. I've told you about Casablanca, the chaos, the performing. But what I haven't told you is what happened when I had to stop. Vienna, 2022. I collapsed. The pattern before Casablanca, I've already shared about that. The catcalling chaos, the violent relationship, the performing fine and shiny, diplomatic world. Malawi, tea farm, 12 hours day for weeks on 12-hour days for weeks on end, broken generator. Just trying to manage, trying to keep the whole thing going, trying to meet expectations of international guests. The discrepancy of what people got paid and what guests paid for a room, staff earning in a year, mind-boggling. Being of service to everyone but myself, still drinking way too much, using drugs, malaria, as I shared in the previous episode of how the rug was pulled out under my feet once again, and I was taken care of. Another experience, Sri Lanka, this stunning island, like, oh my goodness, so beautiful, but also go, 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 rent a motorbike, surfed so hard, kissed the reef, wanted to do it all, visited the temples, stunning. Big conflict in my relationship at the time too. I was so exhausted, I was so tired. And then the homecoming, as I share in episode 5, I think that was Law 2.0, Vienna. Again, 60 plus hour work weeks, trying so hard to make it work. I achieved the thing, I got back in. Now I need to do it, like I really need to do it. But I could not. After all those years of freedom, it was hard at times. It was really hard at times, no doubt. But I chose freedom. I chose aliveness. And after all that, I could not conform anymore. I could not. I couldn't even pretend to conform. I still tried so hard. I still kept pushing. But I also couldn't. Physical signs I ignored. Practice smiled. Back in the days, I was Morocco still, chain smoking, copious amounts of coffee. I really drank so much coffee again in my time of Law 2.0 in Vienna. So much. All the espressi. Compulsive running. I'm still healing my relationship with running. I love to run, but all those times where it was just like, back in the days, also the heavy drinking, no sleep, super skinny, hunched back, protecting my hurting heart, not feeling anything, tight jaw, shallow breath, dead pelvis, my body screaming. And then in 2022, not too long ago, I could barely move. Infinite heaviness in my body. A mountain on my chest. Could barely breathe under the weight. So many tears. So many tears. Guilt crushing me. I abandoned my team. My team has to carry the load alone now. Again, this stale, bitter, metallic taste in my mouth. And the collapse was not like a nervous breakdown or just this like eruptive moment. It was longer than that. It built up over time. And there were little signs all over the place, but I just had to keep doing. I had to keep going, and with this belief lodged in my bones so deeply, if I don't do, I will die. If I stop doing, I will die. Rest actually felt foreign, forbidden. I didn't know how to rest. It felt like death. And in this time, the only things I could do was meditate and walk so slowly through the cemeteries and forests on the outskirts of Vienna where I lived. It's beautiful there. I was barely capable of taking care of myself on a basic level. Food was like a mission. And this conditioning began at my birth. Incubator for 2 weeks, screaming for warmth, for love, for connection. And I learned that I would have screamed my lungs out in order to receive love and nourishment, right? So I had to learn that I had to stop eventually in order to keep living. I had to stop screaming or I would have suffocated, screamed myself to death. The silence meant staying alive. The shutting down meant staying alive. The not allowing meant staying alive. Not being heard meant survival. Not being seen meant survival. Stopping screaming meant survival. And society echoed it, right? It's such a thing. No rest for the wicked, sleep when you die. And what kept me going through law school was caffeine pills. So much Red Bull, so much Red Bull. There's actually a hilarious photo of myself in my Morocco years, diplomacy. One of my colleagues got that shot where I'm literally asleep in my office chair with a can of Red Bull in my hand. This is how I rolled. No exhaustion, but I kept going. And when I finally allowed myself to rest, or I had to allow myself to rest, Vienna 2022, so much grief. Oceans of grief. So many tears for days. I slept. Trying to remember, but I slept so much and my body finally exhaled. And the mountain on my chest slowly lifted. Didn't even lift, but like one boulder tumbled off. Another one, maybe a little pebble. And what rest gives me now, Whole different thing. 4 years later, things can happen fast, right? It gives me so much joy and fun and aliveness. So it actually gives me more and not less. The time is actually more alive. And when I finally allow myself to rest, which doesn't have to be a nap or laying down, it can be self-pleasure, it can be a delicious meal, it can be slowly dancing, going for a walk, cuddling with a friend or your pet. Deep breaths. In those moments of rest, if you allow yourself those fully, you come back stronger, way more energized, way more present, more resourced, more grounded. It's often literally a matter of minutes. A couple of deep breaths, holding, feeling the cup of your warm beverage you're holding. Laying down, setting a timer for 20 minutes, stroking your face, dance to one song. And then you come back with presence. You come back with pleasure. You come back with creativity. You come back with connection. It's, for me too, it's deep permission work. It's such deep work of permission. And giving myself this permission to rest is still a huge process for myself. It requires so much self-talk of I am doing enough. I am enough. And there's curiosity for myself around productivity, like rest being productive instead of rest being shameful. And in a very recent experience, when I'm pushing too far, when there's too much to integrate, too much experience, my left lymph node swells up like an Easter egg and I can barely speak. It almost feels like my body's screaming louder now, right? Like now that I had stopped at some point, had to slow down, the body is like, you're so loud, no way to ignore it anymore. And I'm learning, really deeply learning, that rest is not the absence of doing. Rest is the reclaiming of being. I thought I was powerful. But turns out I was just performing. Power without pleasure is just pressure. And I couldn't breathe under the weight of it. The CEO body. High performers confuse exhaustion with excellence. We mistake burnout for dedication. The tight jaw, I'm handling it, I've got it. Shallow breath, I'm fine. Dead pelvis, I'm in control. But the body knows this isn't power. This is pressure. And also this myth of needing to do it alone. But that's one for another time. That belief that rest is death. That's for today. Where does this come from? Maybe from back in the days, primordial times when, when we laid down, when we rested, the saber-toothed tiger would get us. So maybe that's still somewhere deep in the nervous system. And in my personal experience, it's from the incubator. This weird, complex experience of silence, meaning survival, but also stopping means death. And for many men, being strong meant never stop. Your father worked himself to death, so will you. Rest is for the weak. Sleep when you die. The hustle culture glorification. And then this pattern of pressure You're performing power instead of embodying it. Embodiment buzzword. But your entire nervous system is organized around achievement and control. And it shows up everywhere, in how you lead, in how you love, whether you can actually feel pleasure or just perform it. The practiced smile, the chain smoking, the compulsive running at 10 p.m., trying to outrun the mountain on my chest. The cost was heavy. I was still pretty young, right? But it took time to recover. It's still ongoing, and that heaviness I was feeling, the staleness in my mouth, that guilt that crashed me when I finally stopped, and still this deep belief that stopping meant death. My body screaming louder and louder. Maybe it had gotten quiet, silent at some point before it forces to stop. What actually restores power? It's not more doing, more pushing. What restores power is rest. What restores power is pleasure. What restores power is pause. What restores power is exhale. It's often just minutes. It might not take long, but you have to give yourself full permission. And permission is the hardest part because of society, because of what you learn, because of your parents, because of everybody around you. Is anyone around you taking breaks? Is anyone around you taking a deep breath? Power without pleasure is just pressure. And rest isn't weakness. It's intelligence. Here is what nobody tells high performers. The discipline of never stopping might kill you. You've learned to override everything. Hunger, exhaustion, pleasure, pain, all the things. You call it strength. But it's just pressure. Your body, jaw clenched, breath shallow, pelvis numb. You think this is what power actually looks like. But here's the truth. Power without pleasure is just pressure. And pressure, that's what kills you slowly. You're not resting because you think if I stop, I'll lose my edge. If I rest, I'll fall behind. If I'm not producing, I'm not valuable. And I had very interesting conversations with former peers in the corporate law world in Vienna around exactly that. The societal expectation, if you don't work 40 hours a week, you're not contributing enough. But here's what actually happens. If you don't stop, your body stops you. Burnout, breakdown, disease, dead relationships, numb lives. Rest isn't the absence of doing. It's the reclaiming of being. And when you let your body exhale, that's when real power returns. Let me share with you what happened when I finally let myself collapse. And also here, that is an ongoing thing. Do I allow myself to be seen vulnerable, sad, not knowing? The guilt of resting, how that felt like in my body, it's disgusting, it's suffocating from the inside, it's gross. And again, I still have moments, right, where I'm deciding to take a break or lay down, and I'm not happy with it. I can't actually enjoy it because I feel guilt. I feel that bitterness, that stillness. And that resting was still dangerous. That's what it feels like ultimately. And that might be very old, right? Like way back. When we rest, there's danger. When we pause, there's danger. And it's just not true anymore. It's not true anymore. But perhaps our nervous systems are stuck back in the days where rest meant death. And I was protecting by never resting. If I stopped, my identity would collapse, my worth, my value, my safety. If I wasn't producing, achieving, serving, who was I? What's underneath all the doing? What was I afraid to be revealed if I stopped moving? I was protecting by never resting, to not feel guilt, to not feel anything really, to keep going, to perform, to such a go-getter. And now I'm in this exploration of what rest can actually give me that performing never could. When I finally exhale, when I stroke my face, when I lay down during a sunny day for a moment, when I dance, in those minutes that I stop pushing, that I stop forcing, an aliveness comes through me that would never be possible through the pushing. A joy comes through me. More energy is the gift. More aliveness is the gift. More productivity is the gift. Because I'm here, I'm alive, I'm rested. Instead of forcing it, pushing it, not stopping. And this capacity to actually push the pause button and be like, you know what? I'll be back in a moment. No one is gonna die. No one is gonna die if I take a breather, if I go for a walk, if I have a snack. It's so much better. It's so much better. And again, all those things might be very novel and hard, and they, as I said, still are for me at times, but the benefit is so much higher than the keeping pushing. And if this is landing, if either your jaw is clenched or you're exhaling, if your breath is shallow or you're softening, it's not too late. Your body is still speaking. It's just asking, can you let me exhale? Let me ask you some questions. No need to answer. Feel free to come back. Keep breathing. Feel the feet on the ground beneath your life. You don't even need to answer. Just feel into them. Keep breathing. Where in your body are you performing right now? Where in your body are you performing right now? Your jaw, your shoulders, your chest, your pelvis, just notice. Question number 2. What would rest feel like if it wasn't death? No collapse, no failure or becoming okay with failure, no losing your edge, just exhaling. Maybe leaning forward, leaning back, just exhaling. What would that feel like? What would rest feel like if it wasn't death? Question number 3. What becomes possible when you let yourself rest, even for just 5 minutes? What becomes possible for you when you let yourself rest for just 5 minutes? Maybe presence, pleasure, creativity, aliveness, joy. What opens when you stop pushing? Question number 4. What is your body asking for right now that you're not letting yourself have? A breath, a pause, permission to rest. What's it saying? What is your body asking for that you're not letting yourself have right now? Just breathe. Just notice. Power without pleasure is just pressure. Rest isn't weakness, it's intelligence. Your body knows. Let it exhale here. If you feel this in your body, the weekly letter from me, Flora Petri, is below. This is where I share first about my exclusive private programs and what wants to come through me. Like, comment, share with someone you think would benefit from this. find me when you're ready.